video. Oh my, this is another video. Like I said, I'm on vacation right now. Is the time of recording this, but this is just another scenario video. Stephen Vitt, STB Castle. This is his. The consolidation of the G6. This is a long one, and I'm not really going to offer my alternative on it because he has so much to do in this. It's a lot. And is the G6 going to go this far? Okay, so this is, like I said, the future of the G6, the creation of, he called it the Commonwealth Conference. Now, in his video, he read the scenario where the fact was, the American, the Mountain West, and the Pac-12 stayed intact for financial reasons, but due to lack of finances, the MAC, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA, because of one reason or another, or perhaps media pressuring, didn't get a media deal, couldn't get anything, dissolved. Now, would this happen? I can't rule anything at this point. But the thing is, like, I want to say one thing to you, Stephen. You said that the Mountain West would get big. It was actually the American that got really big. So big to the point, I don't think this would happen. But, like I said, his scenario is the fact that, and he has a lot of points to get into here, that, like I said, a lot of scenarios he has happening here. Like I said, those three conferences go away. Before things happen, before the conferences dissolve, the Mountain West makes an offer, in his scenario, to grab Toledo as a football only. They say no, which is close to real life right now. And Buffalo and Toledo both leave the MAC and go to the American. Now, could schools have gone to the AAC? This is, putting this is nothing has happened yet. Now, this could be backfill, going that way. Second, if the Mountain West Conference, in turn, decides to go on there, and I'm assuming these will be football only. Stephen didn't say whether they're not, but I'm assuming football onlys, to expand further eastward with Northern Illinois, grabbed Western, Central, and Eastern Michigan as football onlys in the conference. Due to the lack of a conference being intact and other reasons, Akron and Kent State dropped down to FCS. Akron has actually at one point in time talked about dropping down. It was, I think, like 2014, ish. The legislatures, they weren't sure they're going to pay for it. There's some people who were asking Akron to drop down. That didn't go anywhere, but Akron and Kent State dropped to FCS. Pac-12 adds Texas State, New Mexico State, and Sam Houston State. So that puts them up to 10 schools, 11 for basketball. Louisiana and Louisiana Tech both go to the Mountain West, although it's full membership or football only. I don't know. This is the one that, because of who decided to form the Commonwealth Conference, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, South Alabama, Jacksonville State, Troy, Southern Miss, Kennesaw State, and FIU all joined the American. Okay. So, what would this mean? Let's take a look at what the conferences would be, and I'll get to the Commonwealth. Like, this is barring anybody going to the ACC. We know this, okay? The American, like you said, the Mountain West would be big. It'd be 13 with two basketball Olympic schools, which ended up being 14 when UC Davis becomes a full member in 2029. The American would have 22 schools. I don't see any way in the world a G5 or G3 in this scenario would have 22 schools. Army, Tulane, Navy, Memphis, East Carolina, South Florida, UTSA, Charlotte, North Texas, Rice Temple, UAB, FAU, Tulsa, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, South Alabama, actually it's 24 actually, South Alabama, Jacksonville State, Troy, Southern Miss, Kennesaw State, FIU, Toledo, and Buffalo. A 24-team American. I forgot to write that down. But yeah, 24-team American. Yikes. Mountain West would be Hawaii, San Jose State, Nevada, UNLV, Air Force. This is football I'm talking about here. Air Force, New Mexico, Wyoming, NIU, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, football only. Louisiana Tech could be full members or football only. Don't know. So, and then of course you have UC Davis and Grand Canyon as Olympic sports members, but UC Davis will be a full member in 2029 when their stadium gets done. where is it at? The Pac-12. Where are you? It's Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Colorado State, Utah State, Texas State, New Mexico State, Sam Houston State. So it's 10 with one Olympic sports member. So who is the Commonwealth Conference? He has the Commonwealth Conference as 16 schools. Ohio, Miami of Ohio, Bowling Green, Ball State, UMass, Marshall, James Madison, Old Dominion, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State, Arkansas State, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee State, Liberty, Delaware, and Missouri State. This is a lot to process. Okay, now the moves. Okay, we get that. I got the move sheet done. The problem is I can't say what the future of the G6 is going to look like after 2031 because no one has a damn clue. No one knows. I mean, I don't see. I think realistically 14 where we're at now, 16 is the ceiling, and I don't think even that's going to be feasible for much longer. I think it's going to be 12 or 14. So Mountain West would be 14 with an Olympic sports member. Pac-12 would be 10. They could add 2 more. The Americans at 24. I don't see it being that big. I mean, you'd have to drop 8 schools. I mean, realistically, there's a lot of things to do here. Could the Commonwealth Conference happen to be a G4 with the American, the Mountain West, the Pac-12, and the Commonwealth? Would it go back to a G5 and you just eliminate one? Commonwealth essentially kind of is a combination of the MAC and the Sun Belt. Would you bring the Sun Belt back? Would you keep Conference USA? Conference USA be the first one to go. And the MAC schools kind of went independent, so they're gone. So I did not plan this. I didn't rewrite this out. This is off the top of my damn head. 8 schools in the American would have to go. Because 24 is too damn many. Now, keeping Toledo, I get it. They're already at 14. So realistically, they only add 2. So the new schools, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, South Alabama, Jacksonville State, Troy, Southern Miss, Louisiana, Kennesaw State, FIU, Toledo, and Buffalo. I think your original first 2, if I'm going to bring this to a 16-team conference, Toledo and Buffalo are the 2 I'm adding. But realistically, with the American, I mean, we don't know how many. We know they're going to lose schools. Slow myself down. The ACC is going to lose schools. The ACC already planned on losing schools, hence the reason they preemptively added Cal, Stanford, and SMU to cover the loss of 3. They already planned on this. Now, if they lose a 4th, they're going to add 1, most likely. They lose 6, they'll add 3. Because I think they're going to keep it around the 14 to 15 mark. And then once 2036 rolls around, they may drop the number down to 10 to 12. So anything more than 3, they're going to add more. And I've said that for a while that the Big 12 appears to be now out of the picture. And as I've been hearing repeatedly, that the scheduling agreement between the Big 10 and the SEC, same number of conference games. The SEC is now going up to 9 conference games. That's pretty much almost done at this point. Hasn't officially been announced yet. And the Big 10 is going to be, I said, but basically you have the same number of schools. So you do the same number of schools, The SEC could add 2. They both be at 18, but since the Big Ten wants to add 2, they'd have to add 4. That means 6. So the SEC would add 3. So the fine is you do that one, they lose their top 8. The Americans will be the target, they're going to lose their top 3. You're down to 21. You still got to drop schools. And if they drop 3 from 14 to 11, you'd add 3 to get back to 14. Because I think 14 is actually the sweet spot for G5s. So if you look at that, and they would add 3 out of this group. I'm saying I'm doing the ACC thing. They're losing 6 schools, and they add 3. You'd still add Buffalo. You'd still add Toledo. And you have to look at a brand that's actually, you already have UAB, so you can't add Jacksonville State. Southern Miss, you already have FAU. You don't need FIU. Kennesaw State Stadium is too small. I mean, you don't exactly have a lot of options. Of the 8 that you proposed, Stephen. So it's like, ugh. Because the thing is here, if there's an option to go to the American or go to the Commonwealth is probably going to get $4.5 to $5 million a year. The AAC will be getting more money. Short term. So I understand why you thought what you did, because $4 million, $5 million, everybody getting full share, that's more than the current schools they get right now. And the Americans looking at a pay cut. So I understand why these schools stayed there, because it would end up being more consistent money. So you got Tulsa, you've got Birmingham, you've got Miami, you got Philly, you got Houston, Denton, Charlotte, San Antonio, Tampa. I forgot where East Carolina is at. My brain's not working today. Memphis, Annapolis. It's only New Orleans. Army, West Point. You add Buffalo, you add Toledo, leading markets and schools that win. And we got Georgia State and Kennesaw State in Atlanta. But adding media markets doesn't help. You need schools that win and have viewership. And adding Jacksonville State doesn't work. I mean, if they had their choice, they'd probably dump UAV and add Jacksonville State. Because Jacksonville State's in the Birmingham market, at least they win. I don't know. We all have to figure out that one. But if you look at the overflow here, like the Mountain West would have 14 schools. The Pac-12 would have 10. Your Commonwealth has 16. I'd probably drop 2 out of it, but the problem is I don't know which 2 to drop. Actually, I do know which 2 to drop. Is, if this is based on money, you keep Delaware, Missouri State, Liberty, Middle Tennessee State, Western Kentucky, Arkansas State wins, Appy State, Coastal Carolina. Since you already got James Madison, you really don't need Old Dominion. And I wouldn't take UMass. But the problem is that doesn't help your other conference. I mean, hell, you might have to resurrect Conference USA. And that would take your Commonwealth Conference to 14. Pac-12 would be at 10. They could take 2, but there's not enough money here. And you would have... I'd probably say these guys are probably... They might just take Jacksonville State. You'd have... Because that's the only program that wins, but you got 2 in the city of Birmingham. Does that really do anything for you? Troy's winning, but it's not exactly a huge market. Kennesaw State doesn't win. Georgia State is starting to win, but they're not that big. South Alabama's starting down there. Georgia Southern is good, but they're not exactly a major market, but they win at least. Somewhat. You know what? Screw it. That's who it is. They lose their 3. They're going to add... They lose the 3 to the ACC. They're going to add Toledo, Buffalo, and Georgia Southern. So that leaves Georgia State, South Alabama, Jacksonville State, Troy, Southern Miss, Louisiana, Kennesaw State, FIU. That's pretty much a Southern Conference, pretty much. That's 7. mean, it's... Now you see why I didn't want to do this? Because it's like, you have to tear the whole thing down. It's like, I mean, basically the exercise would be for all of you is, write out for you. You know what? We'll just, I'm gonna repeat this again. His conferences, and then I'll explain what the challenge is for all of you to do. All right. The American will be, this is barring ACC rating anybody, 24 schools. Army, Tulane, Navy, Memphis, East Carolina, South Florida, UTSA, Charlotte, North Texas, Rice, Temple, UAB, FAU, and Tulsa. That's the original 14. You add the additions, Toledo, Buffalo, Georgia Southern, Georgia State, South Alabama, Jacksonville State, Troy, Southern Miss, Kennesaw State, and FIU. Mountain West, the original schools they have, which is Hawaii, San Jose State, Nevada, UNLV, Air Force, New Mexico, Wyoming, NIU, football only. And their additions were Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Louisiana, and Louisiana Tech. So that's 13 for football short term until UC Davis becomes a full share member in 2029, then become a 14-team conference at that point. Pac-12's Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Colorado State, Utah State, Texas State, New Mexico State, Sam Houston State, which is 10 and 11 for basketball. And, of course, the Commonwealth Conference, he created Ohio, Miami of Ohio, Bowling Green, Ball State, UMass, Marshall, James Madison, Old Dominion, Coastal Carolina, Appalachian State, Arkansas State, Western Kentucky, Middle Tennessee State, Liberty, Arkansas, Missouri State. Okay, now that I've done all the repeating on this, basically that's what he did. And I want you to comment on how Stephen did on this, because it's definitely interesting. And Stephen said, pick this apart. And I'm like, the only thing I have the problem with is the AA American being too big. So realistically, I don't think that's what happened. So my honest thing about here is, like, you have it down where that the MAC, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA implode and all of them dissolve. So they all become free agents. And you had Kent State and Akron going to FCS, which, okay. But you add those two into this, you got even more schools. So here's my question, all of you. This is the challenge in the comments. First off, let's get into this right here. Thanks, everybody, for watching the video. If you haven't done already, smash the like button, hit the thumbs up. It helps the algorithm, helps the video be seen by more people. More thumbs up I get, the more video YouTube's going to promote the video. The comments on the video. You heard what Stephen's comment on what you think of Stephen's scenario. Here's my idea. I don't think you could do one conference imploding, and then you have one replacing it. Two gone, one replacing it, that puts you back at a G5 instead of a G6 with the Pac-12. I think that's a more realistic scenario. So between the MAC, the Sun Belt, and Conference USA, one stays, two go. You have, or is it the new formation of the Commonwealth Conference that he put in, the new conference, which geographically farthest west it goes, really is Ball State, and it goes all along the eastern, actually it goes all the way to Missouri State. It's basically kind of a Conference USA, it's a hybrid of the Conference USA, MAC, and the Sun Belt. But the Commonwealth Conference stays intact. Is there any way two of the conferences go away, one stays? And because of Akron and Kent State leaving and all the MAC schools pretty much going, I think the MAC would be the conference to dissolve, along with the one everybody else thinks is going to dissolve is Conference USA. So am I wrong on this? Conference USA and the MAC dissolve, Sun Belt stays intact but gets poached. And am I the only one thinking realistically that 16, even that is too much, 14, 12? I mean, if you look at the schools we have right now, if you have 22, and I'm counting UC Davis as a football school because they're going to be one by this happens. You have 22, 14, which is 36, 10 here makes 46, with 16 makes 62. If you add Akron and Kent State, it's 64. That'd be 4 16-team conferences. If you take Akron and Kent State and put them in FCS, that's 3 16s, 1 14. That's 4 conferences. That's 4. And we're doing a G5 because 2 conferences are leaving, but one's replacing it. So you go from G6 to G5. So 5 on 64, that could be what? 60 with 4 left over. Or you could do 62, I should say. It'd be 62 without Kent State and Akron. It'd be 62. So you'd have 5 conferences. It'd be 12 each with 2 13s. Or it could be 5 12s. 4 12s with 1 14. And that could be a challenge for me to do another video. If you want me to do that part, let me know in the comments. But basically, I think 16 is kind of pushing it realistically. I think the reason why the Sun Belt and everybody else stopped is because it's kind of pushing it. The American could go for more because they have more money. But 16 is like, going more than 16 on a G5 is nuts. I think the 12s is kind of like what Mountain West was at 12. It was kind of in a sweet spot. It was just then on here. Now, if you wanted to add like they could have added a couple basketball schools and got 14 for basketball. That could have been fine. But I'm thinking this is the challenge. Let's say, for the sake of argument in this video, ACC loses 6 schools, they raid 3. You pick the 3 they raid to take to the conference. So that means out of the 62, you are now dropped to 59 in 5 conferences. So you're going to have to take one of those schools back. Or you could leave all of them here and say they all stay and do 62. I'm thinking it might want to be best just to count those 3 gone for the ACC. Or they may only take 1. But they take 3. Akron and Kent State go in FCS, you could do that. They take 3. Your 62 is down to 59. You could have it stay only 1 school goes down. That's 60. That's 5 12-team conferences. The American, the Mountain West, the Pac-12, the Commonwealth, and probably the Sun Belt, because the MAC and Conference USA would go away. 12 teams. You could do that. Or however you want to work it. But basically all the schools, look up all the schools and do that. Now, if you want me to do this, and it would probably have to be a 2-parter. Because 1, I'd have to, on the video, figure who the hell the Power 4 are going to grab. Because the Big Ten and the SEC are grabbing theirs. We got to figure the ACC is getting replacements. Also, what's the timeline? Is this 2031 or is this 2036? Because 2036, this is speculation city. Because we don't know what the hell we're dealing with here. So, that's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, what should the limit of a G5 conference be? 14? Should it be 12? I realistically thinking it's probably we might go back to 12 being a sweet spot for a conference. Maybe 14 or more for basketball. But football-wise, 12 may be the number. There's some that's saying they want to go back to 10. Number one, they're not going to ever hinder a conference to doing more than that. They're not going to do it. I was looking at the exhaust. It's my neighbor's truck. Smoking. I'm at this rest stop here. Just past Texarkana. Actually, I'm in Arkansas. But, near Arkadelphia. it's kind of an interesting situation. Where do you go? 5 conferences. How would you redo it? The American, the Mountain West, the Pac-12, the Sun Belt, or it could be the MAC, or it could be Conference USA, plus the Commonwealth, the 5th conference that Stephen created. How would you rework them? You could do it with all of it going, or who would leave to go do this? And if you want me to do it, where I do a video, the first half is who I think is going to be going to the P4, and conjunctively off of that in the same video, how this would be affected. You can let me know about that in the comments, as well as any other scenarios you want to come up with. Share them if you want to. If you haven't done it already, do some of your favorite. Check out some of the other videos I've done. If you like them, hey, subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. On the road to 1K. You want to follow me on X? The link is going to be in the description. I'm running low on time here, so let me get this cranked out. Thanks everybody for watching. Hope everybody's having a great evening. This is going to be coming out on Wednesday. Be safe and please be good to each other.